Hello everyone, welcome to ThinkBook. Initially, let me tell you what ThinkBook exactly is. ThinkBook is a student community where students can learn together, can implement the projects together, can solve the real world problems together. Okay, it's all about uniting the students and create a better world than yesterday. Okay, let's build this world together, guys. Okay, I'm Imayan, your data science mentor. At first, what exactly is data science? Data science is a growing field. Nowadays, it's a more trending field where we can solve the real world problems using the enormous amount of available data. Nowadays, just like say that we can say that it's a data driven world. We are generating data every day in a large amount. Okay, now we are going to introduce series of concepts, tutorials, and videos about learning data science. And I am your data science mentor throughout this journey. You can learn with me, you can engage yourself in the data science journey. In today's video we are going to look the basic fundamental unit of data science, which is NumPy. NumPy is nothing but it's a Python module, or it may be a Python library, which is also called as numerical Python, because the Python can handle numerical values instead of the word values or sound values. It can handle the numerical bits efficiently. So a library is built based on that to efficiently store the data, efficiently retrieve the data, can manipulate them efficiently, like that. NumPy is built based on that case. Okay, it provides an efficient interface to store and operate on dense data buffers. In some ways, new NumPy arrays are like Python's built-in list type, but list type are sometimes heterogeneous, and we can operate them we can operate the data with them efficiently. Even we can access it, modify it. But what's special about NumPy? But in the case of list, it won't in the case of list, when the data grows large in number, the list doesn't provide the efficient operation for storing, retrieving, and accessing the data. But in the case of NumPy, it provides an efficient storage and efficient manipulation of data when the data grows in large amount. So it's what the special fact about NumPy. NumPy arrays provide much more efficient storage and data operations as the arrays grows larger in size, as I said before. NumPy arrays form the core of nearly the entire ecosystem of data science tools in Python. So time spent learning to NumPy effectively will be valuable, no matter what aspect of data science interests you. Okay, let me it is the documentation website, official documentation website of NumPy. It tells the speciality of NumPy: powerful n-dimensional arrays, numerical computing tools, interpretable, performant, easy to use, open source. Yes, it is, guys. Okay, let me introduce some basic concepts in NumPy in this video. We are using Jupyter Notebook for this tutorial, guys. You can because it's the beginner friendly IDE you can use for your data science projects. It's very user friendly. You can use them to manage your projects. You can use them to create your own projects. Okay, let me create a new Python script, and here we go. It's created a new Python script, guys. So at first, what we need to do to use NumPy in our project, at first we have to install it. We all know that at first we have to install some package. pip install NumPy, and see the requirements already satisfied, which means I already installed the NumPy. You can easily install NumPy using this command pip install NumPy. Okay, now let me check the version of NumPy which is in my system. For that, I can import NumPy first. Import NumPy as np. Here I am using a duplicate name np as a as for the NumPy, because throughout our project, or all over the world, all the data scientists will use the NP as abbreviation for the NumPy, because it's easier to use in their scripts instead of writing NumPy as every time. Okay, now let's check the NumPy version which is in our system. NumPy underscore version underscore. Let me check. NumPy is not defined. This error happened because we use the abbreviation NP as for the NumPy. So we have to use NP dot underscore version underscore. Let shift plus enter. We have got the NumPy version 1.20.1, which is the latest version. I recommend you to use the NumPy version 1.8 or greater than it. Okay, we can also access the NumPy documentation from here. np.tab. This command will give you its invalid syntax, I think so. Oops. Okay, we can use np. Yes, now it will give the exact documentation of NumPy, which we will use on later videos. Okay, so don't bother about that now. NumPy provide efficient data storage, data access, and manipulating the data just because of its multidimensional array object, which is called ND array. It's the object provided by NumPy to operate on these operations. Let me tell you how to create a NumPy array first, because creating arrays is more important in data science or in any other machine learning projects you are working on. Okay, at first we can create NumPy array from a list of from a Python list, or from a Python dictionary, or from a series, or from a set, which you have experienced in a normal Python. Okay, we can create np.array of. We can pass a list of items 1, 2, 3, 4. We can pass it like it, and we see here array of 1, 2, 3, 4, which means it's a NumPy array. We can also check it type of np.array of 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now you see that numpy.nd array, which is the type of the returned array, is it's before. Okay, now let me tell you the other ways of creating a NumPy arrays. Okay, let me use a list comprehension here. np.array of range. Sorry guys, it's just a typo. Sorry for that. I comma I plus 3 for I in range I in we can pass a list of items 2, 4, 6. Now you can see that a NumPy array created 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 6, 7, 8. You don't bother about this, guys. If you don't understand this example, I can explain it in the later videos. Okay. Now we have several methods for creating NumPy arrays. Let me introduce one by one. At first, numpy.zeros, which will create a NumPy only containing zeros. Okay, we can specify the data type of each and every element in the array by specifying the argument dtype equal to int, and we can see here the returned array contains 10 zeros of data type 0. If we change it to float, all the elements in the array will change it as a floating number. As you can see here, 0 point, as you like that. As you wish, you can change the data type of any of Python data types or the NumPy data types, which will be introduced sooner in the later section of this video. Okay, we can create numpy.ones, which means it creates an array which full of ones. np.ones of 10 comma dtype equal to int. You can see here it creates at 10 elements which contain exactly 1, or else you can NumPy also not only supports the one dimensional array, it also supports two dimensional array, three dimensional array, and it also supports the multi-dimensional array, which will be very useful in your data science journey. We can see it in the later sections. Now we can create a two-dimensional array with only filled of ones like that. np.ones of 3 comma 5, which means 3 rows and 5 columns, and you can specify the data type dtype argument equal with the help of dtype argument, dtype equal to float. Okay, now you can see that 3 rows and 5 columns of ones, all of the floating point numbers because of the data type argument. You can also create a range of values instead of specifying the sequence of elements in a list. You can also specify a range, and you can create an array with the help of np.arrange function. np.arrange of 0 to 20 and with a step value 1, or if you don't give it, you can also see that by default it accepted the step value as 1. You can see here 0, 1, 2 up to 0 to 19 the array is formed, but you can specify the step values manually. Now I am specifying the step value as 2, and now you can see that the step values get increasing 0, 2, 4, 6, 8 and like that. Okay, you can like this way you can specify the range you want to create the array. And now I am going to introduce the random module, because the random module is often helpful when you are working with machine learning projects, which is nothing but it generates randomly the elements of arrays in the specified range. np.random of 3 comma 3, which means it creates the random values of 3 rows and 3 columns. We can see that here the randomly generated values 3 rows and 3 columns are formed. And now we can also specify that random np.random.normal, which means it will generate the normal distribution values. It will generate the array of normal distribution values. We can specify that mean and standard deviation and its shape, which is 3 rows and 3 columns. Now you can see that randomly generated values, randomly generated normal values. Okay, now there is also a function np.random.randint, which means it will create a random integer within a specified range and within the specified shape. Okay, np.random.randint 0 to 10 I am specifying that, and I am specifying the shape too. Now you can see the result that it's generated the random numbers between 0 and 10. It doesn't include the 10, but before 10, 0 to 9, the 10 numbers, it will randomly generate among the 10 numbers in the shape 3 rows and 3 columns. And you can also create an identical matrix, which means the main diagonal elements alone contain the elements 1, and the other than the diagonal elements, all the elements in the array are 0. We can create using that np.I function, which is used to create identity matrix. You can see that the main diagonal elements are containing 1, and other than the main diagonal elements all are 0. Okay, now you can also create several types of arrays. Please refer to the NumPy documentation. You can find various types of methods. And now I'm going to tell you, I'm going to explain that various operations we can perform on arrays using NumPy. At first, we can indexing of arrays and slicing of arrays and reshaping of the arrays and joining and splitting of the arrays. At first, we can get these generated NumPy arrays has some special attributes. Okay, at first we can create. At first, we set the np.random.seed parameter to some value, because every time we generating a random value, it will change. But if we set the random seed parameter to 42, because it's a universal value, you can also specify it as 0. Then the randomly generated value will not change every time we execute it. For that purpose, we are using that statement. Okay, now we are creating an array x1 np dot random dot randint. As I said before, it generate the random value between a specified range 10 comma size equal to 6, which means it will generate the random values in the range of 0 to 10, size equal to 6, which means it's a one dimensional array of 6 elements. Okay, now I'm going to create a second array np dot random dot randint of, we can specify the size as a two dimensional for getting a two-dimensional array 3 comma 4, which means 3 rows and 4 columns. And now we are creating a three-dimensional array np dot random. We can create we can press the tab for the shortcuts np dot random dot randint of the same 10 comma size equal to. The size parameter will tell you the size of the array, which means it explains the dimension of the array you are creating. Here we are creating the three-dimensional array 3 comma 4 comma 5, which means it will contain a three-dimensional array. It will create a three-dimensional array. And now we have successfully created those, and we can now see, and I'm going to explain that the attributes of these created arrays. Print, now I'm going to print that x3 dot x3 is I told that now the x3 is a three-dimensional array. Now we can check it with the ndim attribute. Now you can see that the result is 3, which means that x3 is a three-dimensional array. And now we are going to see that print x2 dot shape, which means it will tell the shape of the array 3 comma 4, which we specified earlier. Okay, and now we are going to see that size of the x3 array, which is a three-dimensional array. We can check it using the size attribute. Okay, 60, which means it will tell you how many elements are there in the x3 array. Okay, and then the other attributes which might be useful is, as we said before, the data type. Print, we can check the data type of the elements contained in x3 array by using x3.d type. It specify the int 64. Int 64 is nothing but as you can heard before, 32-bit and 64-bit, like that. It telling that int 64. And now we can also check the what is the item size of every elements in that array, in the x3 array or any array you have created before. Okay, now we can check it using print x3 dot item size attribute, and it returns 8, which means it tells that every item in that array contains 8 bytes, and the total number of bytes occupied by that array can be checked by n bytes attribute. It tells that 480 bytes, the entire elements of x3 occupy the 480 bytes in your computer memory. Okay, and now we are going to discuss about accessing single elements. Hope you understood that the attributes of how we can access the attributes of NumPy array. And now we are going to discuss about how we can access the elements from that array. By coming to the accessing part, as we have learned before in that Python list, we can access with the index in the square brackets. As the same here also, we are going to access the elements in the square brackets. Okay, we can first get the elements of x1 as we defined before. We can get the 6 3 7 4 6 9. Okay, now we can access them. X1 of 0, which returns the first element, x1 of 5, which returns the 9, last element of the array. Okay, and then we can access the element from the reverse order as in Python list. If we put -1, we can get the last element as 9, and if we put -2, we can get the sixth, which is the second from the last element. We can access it from the reverse order. Okay, and now we can also access the elements from the two-dimensional array which we have created, and we can also access elements from any other dimensional array which we will create in future by using NumPy. We can efficiently access them. It's one of the advantage. It's one of the main advantage of NumPy. Okay, we can see that x2, which is the created before, and now we can access x2 of 0 comma 0, which means it tells the it is a 0th row and it is the first row. We can see that it is 0th row and it is first row and it is second row. Remember that the Python index is always start from 0, 1 and 2, and this is the 0th column, first column, second column and the third column. Okay, now we can access the 0 and 0 comma 0, which means the 0th row and the 0th column, which means the 2. We can get the result as 2. Okay, now we can access the element in two-dimensional array by specifying the index in the row and the specifying the index in the column. Okay, now we can access the other element x2 of 2 comma 0, which will access 0, 1 and 2 and the 0th column, which is 5, and we get the result as 5. Okay, we can also modify it. Not only we can access the elements, we can also modify it. We can see that x2 of 0 comma 0 equal to 12, and now when we printing the x2, you can see that the 0 is modified with 12. Okay, like this we can easily modify the array, access the array, and so many operations we can do in NumPy. And now when you will try to assign a floating value, because the array we created here will contain the integer values. When you try to assign a floating value inside of the array, you can see that these floating value is truncated to integer value, and you will get the whole round of value. And you can see here the 2.11 is not returned. The result returned here is 2, which means that the 2.11, the last two decimal places, is truncated. The NumPy will do it internally. Okay, which will be easier in future data science process. Okay, when you by mistake you have entered the outlier value into your data set, it will NumPy will handle it efficiently and automatically. You don't have to worry about it. Okay, and now I will going to explain you about array slicing, and now we are access the elements using indexing operation. And now I am going to tell you that array slicing, you can slice the elements present inside the array. As you can see, we can slice it like this, which means you can specify a colon and you can specify the index after that. Here I had specified that the index 3, which means access the elements before 3, 0, 1 and 2, and I got the result, 0th element and the first element and the second element. Okay, it won't include the third element, because the slicing operator works like that way. Okay, works example for, as you can consider the range function in Python, which will not consider the final value. The range will include the pre-final value. Okay, it doesn't include the final value. Okay, and now we can also specify the starting index also, x1 of you can slice the index from 1 to 4 and you can get it, but the starting index here is included in the returned array 1, and you can get the elements before 4, 0, 1 and 2, 3, 4, and before the fourth element you can got the result. Okay, and now you can also slice with the step size you want. You can specify it externally. Okay, by default it is 1, as I said before, but you can set the step size as 2, and now we have got the result as, see here, the step size is increased by 2, 1 and 2, and the first element and it reaches the second element, and in the returned array is 2, 7 and 6. Okay, now like that you can explicitly you can specify the step size. Okay, now I'm going to show you that the full we can start from 0 and we can end it before 5, and the step size is 2. Now you can see that the returned array is 276, which is same as before, which means that the entire array length is 6, which means the 6 we can also, which is the in the cell 41, which does the exact same similar task as cell 40. Just now we have specified that the start value, the starting value, and the step value, and the starting value and the end value, and finally the step value. Okay, as I said before, without explicitly specifying that step value, the NumPy will handle the step value immediately inside it with a step size of 1. Okay, we can also slice the multidimensional arrays as we created before. We can get the x2 array we can create it before, and we can specify it by like this. You can specify that how many rows you want to return by specifying I want to return the two rows, and I want to return every column, or 2 columns, like that. And now you can see that it returned 2 rows and 3 columns. Like that you have to slice the row index, and you have to slice the column index too. Okay, and now not only you can slice the elements in the default order, you can also slice the elements in the array from the reverse order. Okay, like as I said before, you can access you can slice the elements in the reverse order, like you can specifying the negative index. Now you can see that every element in the x2 is got reversed. Okay, and now we are going to discuss about copies and subcopies of the created arrays. And now the array slices will be they return views rather than copies of the array data, which means they return the original values. It doesn't return the copies. Okay, if we modify an element in the array, it will affect the original memory and it will affect the original array. It doesn't affect the copy. Okay, like that the slicing works. Okay, at first now we can see an example x2, and now you can see the original array again, and now we can create a sub array from x2 sub equal to x2 of we can take a subpart from that x2 array, like the first 2 columns and the first 2 rows. Okay, sorry. Now the sub array is created. Now you can see that now you can see the sub array like this. Sorry, x2 is the original array, and now we can see the sub array, which is the first two rows and the first 2 columns, 12, 6, 3, 7. Okay, and now you are going to modify that x2 sub. Okay, x2 sub of 0, 0, which means the first element in that x2 array as 19, 9, and you print that x2 sub, and now you see that the array value is changed, but rather than it also affect the original array. As you can see here, the 99 is changed in the original array too, just because the slices will affect the will rather return views, which means the original array rather than the copies of the data. Okay, if you change the array using slicing, it will affect the original data which is stored in the original memory. Keep in mind that. Okay, and we can create copies of array using copy method. Okay, now I am creating another sub array of x2. But now this time I am using a copy method, x2 sub copy x2 of the same sub array. I am now extracting from that original array, and now I am using that copy method. Okay, which create a copy of that array and put it in a newly created array, which is x2 sub copy. And now you can easily see that you can easily see that this is the subcopy we have created. And now if we try to modify it, it doesn't affect the original array because we copied it from the original memory. Okay, yeah, now see that x2 of 0 comma 0, and I'm replacing it as 11, and okay, and now if you put x2, it still returns 99, it doesn't return 11. Okay, it's just because we have copied the subarray. We doesn't use the slicing alone, we use the copy method which is mentioned here. Okay, this helps, it doesn't affect the original array. Okay, now we are going to look at the interesting method which is present in a NumPy, which is the reshaping the array. Now we are creating a new variable grid equal to np dot arrange of 1 comma 10, which means it create an array with 1 to 9 elements. Okay, dot, we can reshape it using the reshape method of what shape you want to. I can create 3 comma 3, and now I can print the grid as you can see. The returned array is 3 rows and 3 columns, which is just because of this reshape method. Okay, or else you will get or else if you remove this, you can see that it will return a one-dimensional array, or else you can specify it and you can return the reshaped array as you want, as your convenience. You can get the reshaped array using the reshape method. Okay, and now we are going to always remember that the number of elements, which is in this case the 9 elements, which will going to present in array, the 9 elements, the number of elements will be equal to the product of the dimensions you are specifying inside of the reshape method. Okay, and now you can also use the new axis keyword on which axis you have to reshape the array. Okay, and now I'm going to show you an example of the new axis method. np.array of, you can specify a list of items, and now x dot you are reshaping now into 1 comma 3, which means 1 rows and 3 columns. Okay, as you can see here, the returned array contains 1 rows and 3 columns, and now you are going to use the np.newAxis keyword. Okay, which will reshape this array into a new axis. As I'm going to show you here, x of np.newAxis, which means it will create a yes, as you can see, which will take all the elements in the column and it will create a new axis on the row. But if you change it at first, you picking up all the elements in the row and you create along the column. As you can see, the elements is shifted towards the column. This is the speciality of the np.newAxis keyword. It will shift the elements from one axis to the other axis. Okay, hope you understood it. If you don't understand, please let me know in the comment section. I can answer you as soon as possible. I can. And now we are going to enter into the how we can concatenate and how we can split the arrays. Okay, as you can see, we can in data science you have to merge two arrays, you have to split two arrays very often. Okay, for that this section of NumPy will be very useful. X is equal to np.array of I can pause the sequence of items and I can create another array, np.array of 4, 5, 6, and now we have two arrays, and now we are going to concatenate both arrays using concatenate function, which is given in the NumPy documentation. As you can check it out. and now we are concatenating it, and now the resultant array which will be concatenated 1 2 3, and the 4 5 6 will concatenate it to the original array. As you can change the order also. If you put y comma x, you can see that the 4 5 6, the elements of the second array will come first, and the elements of the first array will come the later, okay, later part. As you can concatenate by using this the concatenate method. Also you can concatenate more than 3 arrays. Now I'm creating a third array which is which is another list 99 comma 91 comma 91, which is I can also concatenate with both the arrays, with both the x and y arrays. Np dot concatenate function of, you can concatenate with it x comma y comma and z. As you can see now, the resultant array will contain the z array elements also. Okay, now with this concatenate method, you can efficiently concatenate the arrays. We can also concatenate not only one-dimensional arrays, we can also concatenate the two-dimensional arrays and other higher dimensional arrays also. Okay, remember that NumPy arrays or NumPy operations don't applicable to one-dimensional array. It always applicable to the higher dimensional arrays. It's the fact that the NumPy is been so popular for all these years. Okay, now we are going to concatenate two-dimensional array like this. You can also create a two-dimensional array like a list of elements containing list, which means here I am creating a list of lists, which means a nested list, as you have heard before in Python. Okay, and I am creating a two-dimensional array. As you can see, I created a two-dimensional array which contains 2 rows and 3 columns, which will be a two-dimensional array, and I can concatenate. You can also concatenate the same array with itself. You can see here. I'm going to concatenate the two-dimensional array with itself. GRD comma GRD, and now you can see that these same 1 2 3 4 5 6 and this, and it again concatenated with the same array. Okay. But you can specify the axis you want to concatenate. If you specify axis equal to 1, it will change that. It will change that 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 1 2 3 4 5 6, which means the axis it get concatenated along the columns. Okay, if you don't specify the axis parameter, it will by default it will concatenate along the rows. But if you specify axis equal to 1, it will concatenate along the columns. Okay, remember that axis keyword is very important for your data science guys, for your data science journey. When you using axis equal to 1, it will go along the columns like this, but when you are using axis equal to 0, as you can see, it will come across below, which means it will concatenate along the rows, first and second row, and it will contain that and it will concatenate the elements below the last row of that previous array. Okay, remember that axis keyword is very important, guys. And now we are going to introduce some stacking methods, namely vertical stack V stack and horizontal stack H stack, which means that we are having an array here, np.array of. As you can see, we are passing some list of elements here to create it x. You can see that the array, and now we are creating a two-dimensional array. Okay, let it be again. Let it be check it. Yes, we are having a two-dimensional array. We can also concatenate the one-dimensional array and two-dimensional array together with the help of vstack and hstack function. np.vstack, which this function will vertically stack the arrays, which means, as you can see here, x comma grid, it vertically stacks the arrays. Okay, you can see here, it stacks the it just concatenate the result. As you can see here, it just vertically stack the arrays. And now you can also specify, you can also You can also stack the arrays on horizontally by using hstack function. For that I'm using that, I'm creating a new array, I'm creating a new two-dimensional array. As I said before, I'm passing a list of lists, comma 99, and now I can create, and as you can see, the y is now a two-dimensional array which contains 2 rows and 1 column. And now I'm going to horizontally stack that with hstack function with as our previous array grd comma y, which horizontally stack that. As you can see, the 99 is horizontally get stacked with the previous array, which is known as grd. Okay, similarly, you can check the numpy documentation for dstack will stack arrays along the third axis. As you can see, you can now know that how you concatenate the two arrays. We can also split the arrays based on some conditions, okay, by using the vsplit and hsplit command. I'm going to explain here, guys. X is equal to I'm going to create a new array. X is equal to 1 2 3 99 comma 34 comma 99 comma 34 3 comma 4 comma 1. Okay, and now I'm going to create sorry guys, I'm going to explain with you with another example for your easy understanding. Grid equal to np.arrange of, which create a range of values 16, which means it creates a 15 values dot we are reshaping here of 4 comma 4, which means notice that you here, guys, the entire array will contain 16 elements, and the shape of the array will the product of the shape of the array 4 into 4, which is 16, will match exactly with that when you are using reshape function. Okay, and now we can see the grid array which we have created, which contains 4 rows and 4 columns, and now we have to split it using vsplit and hsplit function. For that I'm creating a variable upper comma lower, which helps to store the splitted arrays. Okay, using vsplit function I can split the array. Okay, grid comma you have to specify how many parts you have to split your original array. I am here specifying 2. Okay, and now I'm checking my upper part of the array. As you can, sorry, I have some errors here. What will be it? NumPy has no error, but vsplit I'm put it as a vsplit, so it's a spelling error. And now I'm going to get it as the first part of array. I got it here. The first part of array is splitted, and I can get the lower part of array too. See, the lower part of array is get splitted from the original array. Okay, and with the you can also specify, and you can also split the array horizontally by using np.hsplit function. Okay, and now we are using the hsplit function, and we are splitting the grid array into 2 parts as we did before. And now we can see that the left array, which contains now we can create the left part of array, which means that first 2 columns, the first 2 columns we obtained here, and the right part of array we can get from the right variable. Okay, we can create the right part of the we can get the right part of the original array. Okay guys, hope you understand this tutorial. Please go through the basic function which I have covered so far, okay, which will be very helpful in your data science journey. And one of the similar functions I will explain in the future videos, which is np.dsplit, which will split arrays along the third axis. I will explain it in the future videos. So please go through guys. The basic function. These will helpful in your data science journey. Okay, that's it, guys. Please note me in the comment section which I want to improve, which you don't understand. I will explain you in the next video, guys. Please subscribe for ThinkBook channel, and